ladies! Episode 2 has run a little long, so we are cutting it into a two-parter. Part 1 will consist of our creative segment and our artificial amusement park segment. We'll be posting all of the photos from the AI segment on social media, so don't forget to check those out, listeners. Part 2 will consist of our People Human Brain segment, where we talk about some really good ADHD hacks that can help you in your daily lives. And our Shut Up and Listen segment, where we spotlight Chet Baker, who, surprise, was kind of an asshole.
Welcome back for part 2.
Hi, hi, and welcome to your FavePod. I'm Octo.
I'm Misty. We're your hosts.
Welcome.
Welcome to another episode. Woo!
Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Yes, we do appreciate you.
So yeah.
Yay! If y'all haven't seen our first episode, definitely check that out. We did a whole special episode for Halloween on spooky stories. Some of them were ghost stories, some of them were other things, so check that out. And welcome to episode 2.
We got some segments this week. We're going to talk about, in the creative segment, Misty's going to talk about our logo and the name.
Yeah.
And a little later, we're going to talk about, what was the next thing? Fuck, I forgot.
AI.
Oh yeah, we're gonna mess around with AI and see if we can generate a something fun. I don't know. What are we doing? An avatar for you? Something?
Yeah. Because you have one and it's so cute and I love it, but I can't seem to make one for me.
We're gonna see if we can figure that out, and then I'll talk about Chet Baker for a while.
Right after we have our People Human Brain segment, where we'll give you some ADHD hacks.
Oh yeah, stay tuned because we figured all that shit out. I'm an expert.
Yes. I would say yes.
I've ruined my life so that you don't have to.
Perfect.
I've made the mistakes.
Agreed. We have learned some very simple, easy hacks that you guys can implement into your own lives to help make your life a little easier, we hope. Or don't. That's cool too.
Yeah. People human brain. People human brain. People human brain.
People human brain. People human brain. I want to start with when ADHD was first discovered. Did you know?
I don't know.
ADHD was discovered in 1798 by a Scottish doctor. 1798. I did not miss.
That's wild. I never would have guessed.
I know. I would have never guessed either. I definitely wouldn't have guessed even the 1800s.
And here we are in 2020. People are still like, "Oh, it's not real."
It's not real. Yeah. It's so crazy. Yes, it was discovered by a Scottish doctor, Sir Alexander Crichton. I think that's how you say it, Crichton.
Possibly, maybe Crichton.
He noticed some people were easily distracted and unable to focus on their activities the way others could. He reported that these symptoms began early in life. And then there's a whole lot more to him. If you want to check him out and read about it, I will spell the name. It's Alexander Crichton. 1798. Incredible.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
I learned that on, I'm pretty sure, from the YouTube channel How to ADHD.
That is wild. I'm trying to think of like Abraham Lincoln talking to his ADHD kid, like, God, I told you to chop down that cherry tree 5 times. It was a very formative experience for me, and you're going to do it. And you took like 2 whacks at it, and then you went and you played with a stick and a hoop, and you rolled it down the street. And I I mean, I know that's like pretty much the peak of entertainment right now, but look, you got to chop down that cherry tree. I told you to do it.
Done.
Just sit down and do it.
What is wrong with you?
Maybe you need a planner.
Speaking of planners, your hack is dun, dun, dun.
Basically that. Why don't you get it? No, my thing is that I had to start. I had to make a rule for myself that everything either gets done immediately, it gets put on the calendar, or it doesn't exist. So everything has to go on the calendar. That's my rule, and I live by it. And since I started doing that, I've been fucking up a lot less. So, just anytime you ever think to yourself, first of all, have a calendar that's on your phone that will send you, that you have reminders, that can send you reminders of stuff. And then everything goes on there. And you never, ever say to yourself, I'll just remember to do that. No, you won't. Just accept that you won't. Everything goes on the calendar.
Yeah.
That's it. It's very simple. Just try it for like a week. I know you mentioned that, it starts to make you feel overwhelmed when you have a calendar with too much stuff on it. Yeah.
It does. But at the same time, I feel like if I don't have certain things on my calendar, they definitely will not get done. They will not be remembered. Like, important things. I put important things on my calendar. I don't put everything on my calendar. I totally understand why you would. And I understand that is a good idea to do.
I don't have go walk to, well, sometimes I have regular stuff that I put on there, like when I have to do it like every 6 months or something. But, it's not like, wash my hair.
Right. No.
Anything that's a commitment that involves other people, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Or being somewhere that you need to be on time. Yeah. Like doctor's appointments or,
which sounds simple,
things that you need to do. It does sound simple, but a lot of people
just can't. Yes, yeah, you just have to
utilize it.
I guess the hack is don't fall for the trap of thinking that you'll just remember and you put it on your calendar later. No, it goes on right now.
Right.
And also, I guess the other point of that, where the hack comes in, is like if you have something that's vague and it's like, oh, let's do it next weekend or blah 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 blah. You have to put a time on it, otherwise it won't happen. So like you can say I'm gonna put this down for this, and that's fine. If we have to change it, that's fine. But I have to put a time down, so I'm putting this time down.
Yeah, you do that with me, and I am fine with it. I'm just really appreciative that you understand that I don't work on specific time frames. I cannot.
That's fine.
and I appreciate that you work with me and we can move accordingly to what's going on in your life or what's going on in my life at the time. We can kind of just move it along and adjust.
Because if it doesn't have a time, I'll just procrastinate until the last possible moment, no matter what it is. Even if it's something that I want to do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. So that's
it's
the hack. Put it on the calendar. Don't think that you'll put it on the calendar later, and don't do vague. Like if you can don't put vague time. You can put an all day appointment or whatever, but don't just be like, it's gonna be this weekend. We'll figure it out later. No, put down a time of some sort.
Yeah, I would definitely say at the very minimum, like a time range, maybe. Like if you're not comfortable with setting a specific time,
you just need something to hold the space.
3, like.
Because we have, as ADHD people, we have like no object permanence. If it's not visible, then it's gone.
Yes. Which leads me to my hack, which is keep everything in eyesight. Things that you use on a regular basis that you need to use on a regular basis, keep it in front of you. Because I cannot remember to take my pills. I wouldn't remember to put on deodorant probably if it wasn't straight in front of my face. Like, if you have the ability to put these things in your bathroom, that's what I recommend. I don't. So I put them on my desk because I sit at my desk every morning before I leave for work. I sit down to put my shoes on before I go to work. So at that same time, I sit at my desk. I have my pills. I've got my deodorant right next to my pills. I take my pills. I put on deodorant. I put my shoes on. Things that you need to do, you need to be able to see them. Because if you put them in a drawer where they're all nice and neat and tucked away, you will forget they exist. And I have done that
True.
on so many occasions. You got to see it. Another thing that falls in line with that is putting things within reach of what you're using. Like, for example, your coffee. Like, say you have a K-cup machine, like I do. Put your K-cups in the cabinet right in the same spot as your machine. Or your coffee mugs, all in the same area. Or if you have a little stand that you put your K-cups on, I would just have it right next to it. Have everything in arm's like reach, so you don't have to walk away, because the moment you walk away, something else is gonna trigger your brain, and you're gonna like start doing something else, and then you're gonna forget that you're trying to make yourself tea or whatever it is. You're like, I was doing something. What was it? Oh yeah, I was making a drink, but then I started cleaning the living room because I saw a mess. You know, you can't walk away from these things. That is so important. I use that with everything. Like, at this point, my desk, everything that I need, like, throughout the day that I might need, not that I use every day, but that I might need at some point. Like, I have a tape measure that I use consistently, like, so often. It's right there on my wall. I have, like, a thing full of pockets. I just pull it out, do that. Nail file. Pull it out. Just, it's all right there. Because I craft, so on my desk, like, I always have crafty things, anything that I might need, I'm right here, oh, right here, easy. If I get up and I walk away, I'll start doing something else, and I know that about myself. So once you learn that, once you realize that's the case, like, it just makes so much sense. Have everything that you could possibly need in the same relative place that you would be using it.
Yeah.
That's my hack.
I agree. Yeah, like, gather all of your materials before you start something, because going off to get something is a path down
is the bane of getting anything done. Because
you're not coming back if you have to go away for something else, dude. You're gonna come back an hour later and be like, oh fuck, that's right, this is what I was doing.
Oh yeah, I was doing that.
Oh, that's why I went into the other room. Fuck.
Oh yeah, all the time.
You're like you're just like randomly like you're just like covered in coal dust because you decided to clean out the like your neighbor's coal thing chute from the 1900s.
I don't know about that one so much, but yeah, generally speaking, you walk away, you're not coming back for a while, even if you're like, I'm just walking out here to get this one thing. But no,
like that wouldn't be weird if you were working on craft stuff. So I had to improvise in the moment.
Yeah, to think of something weird. Yeah, that makes sense.
What else could you be covered with? Coal. Go with it.
Coal. Yeah. Soot. It's not even coal. You talking about cleaning a chimney?
No, I'm talking about like well, at least around here, the buildings are old enough that they all have coal chutes and like a coal room in the basement.
Oh,
where
we
they
don't
used to come
have
deliver the coal.
Okay.
I gotcha.
I see. We don't have basements out here. That's why. Or not where I live, at least. I don't know. Probably there are basements.
Probably whatever
Texas,
coal room that they wherever they stored it probably just got converted into something else. But like here, it's the basement, so it's just like a room, so the chute stayed in place and everything.
Yeah, no sense in like doing extra, paying more to
unless you
take
like
something
unless
away
you're gonna
that's
redo
not
the whole
hurting
basement,
anything.
like
Makes sense.
Anyway, what were we talking about? ADHD. ADHD. In action.
Yeah. No. I feel like we're
I
good
totally agree
on
with
that.
your hack.
Yeah. Keep everything in sight. Keep
if
everything
you
at
want a good
arm's
example
length.
of that, Adam Savage, he did a whole thing on organizing his workshop, and he calls that first order access, where it's like it has to be like, I don't want to have to open a drawer to get to it. It's got to be right there. Mm-hmm. And so he goes on a whole thing of like how that works. So
Adam Savage, y'all. He's incredible. I love him.
If he signs off on it, it must be right. Is my opinion
for
on
sure.
most things.
I agree. Oh, I'm still like in awe of that foam armor stuff that he.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I still want to play with that. I haven't ordered any of it yet, but definitely something I want to do in the future because I really would love to make
like
armor,
flat
but
sheet
it's
of foam
so...
that they like. I guess they like die cut it, and then it's like sort of almost a chainmail type of thing.
Yeah, it's so cool. if you guys are interested in that, ask me for the link and I will find it for you because it is super cool.
Let us know in the comments if you want to hear more about armor, cosplay armor.
Yeah, because that is a really cool cosplay thing that would make it so fast to make a whole like outfit of chainmail that's foam chainmail. I mean, incredible. So fast. It's like sheets of little pieces. Anyway.
It's time for our segment now. Shut up and listen. Damn it. Where we spotlight something that we're interested in. And this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about jazz and specifically about Chet Baker. So yeah, I grew up playing saxophone and then I got into jazz and I played jazz in high school and a little bit in college and then I quit and I recently got back into it. And part of the reason for that is I became obsessed with Chet Baker Sings, Chet Baker's first vocal album, which was largely panned because he took a very like straight view of the melody. And at that time it would have been it was much more common to kind of use a lot of vibrato and like, you know, bend the notes and that sort of thing, whereas he was pretty straight ahead with the melodies. And so a lot of people called it emotionless. I disagree. I think it's just sort of subtle. But yeah, so I became obsessed with him, and then I learned that whole album, and then I basically had it memorized, and I moved on to another album of his.
You learned to play it?
I learned to sing it all.
Oh, okay.
Basically, yeah, note for note, and some of his solos as well. And then I moved on to It Could Happen to You, and then there's Chet Baker Plays and Sings, and so that was it's cool. It's and then I started to learn about Chet Baker, and it turns out remarkable life, also a huge jerk, a huge asshole. So he kind of sucked. He got hooked on heroin pretty early, which is very common for jazz musicians in that time. Yeah, because it was something you could get really easily, and it was really cheap.
Sense.
And you know, there's this whole thing of substances to kind of alter your state to be more in touch with the music, and it kind of shutting out the rest of the world so that you can you know, feel the music. That's very appealing. And so yeah, he was one of those, but he also just was like a dick, it turns out. But you know, he started the remarkable thing about him is that he you know, had a few lessons and things, but he didn't really know anything about music. He just kind of like picked up a trumpet and started playing it, and like did that enough until he could play the way he played, be one of the better jazz trumpet players.
Wow, so he never learned, like, he learned it all on his own. He never took any kind of class or anything like that.
Well, he was in a school band, and he did learn, I think he had some lessons, but he never, like, learned, he didn't know how to read music.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he didn't know what any of that stuff meant. He just, like, heard it, and it came out.
Oh, that's incredible.
Where, you know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of the big things about jazz is if you're going to improvise, you kind of have to know the chord changes so that you can know what notes are available to you. He did it just kind of by ear, and that kind of gave me inspiration because I really don't want to learn a bunch of music theory, and I do just want to kind of do everything by ear. And you know, I'm kind of getting there, surprisingly. So yeah, that's why he was really inspiring. But also, he was a dick. He as an example, later in his life, well, he had a wife. He got married, and he had some kids with him, and then he just kind of left. And she spent her whole life waiting for him to come back and like be the husband and father that she always wanted him to be. And he just never did. Like the most he interacted with them for like decades was like sending a couple letters to his kids. Oh wow! All the while he was out with his girlfriend. Because and actually he got married, his second wife, while they were still married, and they had like, you know, it didn't take or something because he was already married. Oh my god, yeah, because he was already married. Crazy. But the person he was married, the second person he was married, I think this may have been a later relationship. I can't remember which of the women he was with that he victimized that he did this to, but he got her addicted to heroin, and then one of the things that he would do is he'd go out and he'd find somebody, you know, like a junkie outside, an addict outside, just off the street somewhere. And this is, by the way, at the very beginning, I think, of the AIDS epidemic.
Oh, no.
And he'd bring them home, and then he would shoot up, and then he'd have this random person shoot up, and then he would make his wife or girlfriend shoot up, so that he was just like purposely like rolling the dice on exposing her, but not himself, to AIDS.
That's so messed up.
Isn't it fucked up? Yeah, like
yes,
he was. That's
so
the level.
horrible.
That's like the level of asshole that this dude was. Like it's.
Wow.
It was, and the book that I read about this, which is I highly recommend. I should look up the author real quick.
I would bet that most people don't. I don't want to say most people. I just want to say people. I would bet that people in general who know who he is but doesn't know anything about his life, like me, would never have known any of that and probably have no idea. Yeah.
And I was
I
considered myself a fan of his, and then I didn't know any of that.
That's
until I read this book. The book is
crazy.
Deep in a Dream: The Long Night of Chet Baker by James Gavin. There's a blurb on the front that I think is super accurate. It's by David Hadger of the New York Times Book Review. It says it's almost unbearably vivid, which I think is really, really true of this book. I highly recommend it. It's an incredible read, but it was hard to get through at times.
Understandably.
A lot of it reminded me of my father, in the way that he's just kind of a narcissistic dickbag. So, as I've been dealing in my life as and in therapy of the similarities that I see between myself and my father, and I have to like come to terms with like the similarities are not the reason that he's an asshole. The differences are. And so, that was there was echoes of that in this, and I think that helped me come more to terms with both.
Nice.
Wow.
So, yeah. Timing. What timing for you to find that?
Yeah. Well, and then maybe I was seeking it out, or maybe the jazz gods were smiling.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing his story that probably a lot of people don't know, because I certainly didn't know, and I would assume that people who even maybe, like you said, you were a fan of him and you didn't know, so maybe even a good amount of his fans don't even know that about him. So that's
for sure
pretty interesting information to share and put out there for other people
and
to
it's
learn.
So you wonder, what would he have been like without having been exposed to heroin, because clearly a horrible drug that makes huge change in your life and ended up killing a lot of jazz greats way too early,
right?
But at the same time, a lot of them didn't do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
man, so crazy. That is so wild.
Yeah. I'm now reading a biography of Sarah Vaughan, so maybe look forward to hearing more about that. It's a lighter story. It's nicer.
Sarah Vaughan.
It's not, there's a lot. Yeah, Sarah Vaughan. You would know some of her stuff if you heard it.
Probably. That's what I was going to say. If I heard, maybe then I would know, but like just off of the name. I'm really bad with names. I'm great with like hearing something or seeing, like if I see like somebody's face, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I've definitely, I know that person, but names I'm really bad with.
She's one of the greatest jazz vocalists of all time.
Aww.
And a real, she broke some barriers. Very interesting. Good book so far.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you'll definitely have to share that when you get done reading. Give us the interesting tidbits that you find in there.
Another weird thing is like the similar, because like I would love to just be a version of Chet Baker, except for saxophone instead of trumpet, where I don't have to really learn anything. I get it. Which, although at some point I am learning it anyway, because the fact that he didn't learn it is he's kind of an asshole for it. Also, in that it's just really inconsiderate to his bandmates, because there's when Jerry Mulligan got arrested for heroin possession. He ended up going, he got caught bad and ended up going to jail for like a couple of years, I think. And in the meantime, because they were bandmates, Jerry was the band leader, actually. Jerry Mulligan, a fantastic baritone sax player, one of my favorites. So that meant that Chet had to lead the band sometimes, and if he would call a song and they'd be like, okay, in what key? And he'd just like shrug. He didn't know.
Oh no.
Like, because you didn't spend a month learning, like you could sit down and spend a month learning stuff, but he didn't. So I am actually doing that.
He just chose not to. Because
he's just a dick in so many ways.
Yeah, that sucks.
But yeah, and then but yeah, the similarities. One of the things is like the fact that I take my car out on a racetrack, and sometimes I drive like a maniac. And apparently he was the same. Here's a quote from the book. Every time Baker got his hands on a steering wheel, his bandmates saw how menacing he could be. Fixing a frozen stare on the road ahead, he slowly pushed down on the gas pedal. Soon the car was zooming along the highway so fast it threatened to take flight. He looks possessed, said Carson Smith. It was like he had to find some way to let the pressure out or he'd explode. The scenario would be much the same when he shot heroin. Speed and risk were like drugs to Baker. He also seemed to feed on his passengers' terror. But frightened as they were, his friends were amazed at how he wove through traffic and turned sharp corners as deftly as a race car pro. So,
crazy.
Me, except I'm not an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's more stuff like that in the book. It's a good book. Anyway, that's Chet Baker. Ta-da.
Ta-da! Ta-da! Well, thank you for sharing an important figure in your Jackson.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening. Thanks for shutting up and listening. Words.
Do you say, and do you say is the way someone says a word differently in different areas or regions, like we were doing last night in movie night. Route or route? Do you say route or do you say route? We are speaking about route.
R-O-U-T.
Or if you say route, that's okay too. Y'all tell us in the comments, do you say route or route? Let us know. What do you say?
I use them both.
You use both?
I use them both. Route. So yeah, I use them a bunch.
I say route. I got confused. You said it so many times I got confused which one I use. I
oh,
say,
shit. You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
Ooh. I say route. But sometimes when I know that look, I don't always think before I speak, but when I do, I'll say route because I want to sound fancy.
Oh, that's interesting. I think route sounds more fancy. Which route should we take? Which route should we take? Which route? I feel like route's fancier.
It depends on how you say it. Because I don't, yeah, I always put a twist on route.
Mm-hmm.
Which I always say it with
I can't roll my R's.
Accent.
But
I can't roll my R's either.
No.
I've never been able to do that. Okay, so this is more Texas words, or some of them may be just mom words, which are my mom, because my mom is very unique and sometimes she makes up her own words.
She needs to be a guest on this podcast.
She has been. In episode 1.
Not a guest.
Yeah. I definitely think that would be really fun to
her.
get both of our moms as guests on the pod. I think that would be fun. So Texas word would be Brookshires, which is how everybody pronounces it around here. But if you read the word and you're not from Texas, I am from Texas, but I didn't grow up in Texas. So if I'm reading the word as a normal word, if I saw it in a book or something, I would say Brookshires based on the way that it is spelled. So it's BROOKSHIRE''S. Brookshires.
Yeah. I think you showed it to me early when you moved there. And you were like, how would you pronounce this? And I was like, Brookshires.
Yeah. Not people here. Not people in Texas. They say
Berkshires.
Brookshires. As
We're
if there
going
was
down
a
to
U in
Berkshire's.
it. And it's like run by, I guess, like I think that's a last name. So I think maybe because it's a last name, maybe that's why it's pronounced that way. Because it's Brookshire Brothers. So some of them are just Brookshires. Some of them are Brookshire Brothers. So
It's
I
just
don't
how
know.
you pronounce. It's just how you pronounce it after you've had 6 gallons of sweet tea.
Everything changes
going
after that
down-
sweet tea.
Going down Berkshire, his mouth stops working because it's just like in a sugar coma.
Sugar coma. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the
Going
Texas
down
words.
to Berkshire.
I have so many more. I've been keeping a list for quite a while.
Weird words. Okay.
Weird words
Weird words.
is something that Octo and I came up with that we get a little weird about. I don't know how else to describe it. Basically, it's words that are interesting when repeated or sound strange together.
Yeah, they just got a sound about them.
They just got a sound about them. Love that. They just got a sound about them. So I thought for our first one, we would use Old Faithful. Stumbled upon.
Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon.
Stumbled upon.
Stumbled
Stumbled
upon.
upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon.
Stumbled upon. It's very good.
It's
like a
such
very
a
good
good
one.
one. It's classic.
It's great. I like that one. Stumbled upon. Stumbled
It's-
upon.
It's
Stumbled,
it's fun to
stumbled,
say, you guys. Try it. You're sitting there, you're laughing at
Stumbled.
us. You're like, these guys are weird. No, try it out. Do it. Do it right now. Ready, go.
I can tell that they did it. I heard that.
I'm telling you, there will be more. Got a whole little list going, okay? It's not as long as my Texas words yet, but there will be more. Promise. Yes, that's a fun repeater word. So, all right. Well,
I'm going down. So we're
I
gonna
think that's
wrap
truly
up and
like-
go head on down to Brookshire's, I think. Thanks for listening to our second episode here. We're glad that you listened to us now, and we hope you listen to the next one.
Part 2.
And if it's your first time listening, you can go back and listen to the first episode right now. And we are glad that you stumbled upon us today.
Stumbled upon. Thanks for stumbling upon us. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon.
Stumbled upon. Stumbled upon.
Like Octo just said, don't forget that first episode was a special episode for Halloween. It was on spooky stories. We got real live people to give us their actual stories to share with you guys. So check that out. And don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the bell so you can get the notifications for when we put out a new video, which we do monthly. And also, don't forget to leave your comments for what you think the creative segment should be called and which name y'all prefer, which fan name, Peabodies or P-Buddies. Thanks, Peas. We'll see you next time.
Please leave a like and comment.
I love it. Thanks
So
for watching
stupid.
Your Fave Pod.
Bye.
Bye.
Our next episode will be a special themed Christmas episode, coming out December 15th.